The Lost Signals present
The Joke on the Children,
a Bon Mott's Halloween series.
What's up, ninjas?
Celebrating
Left turn.
horror
Sequels.
with in-depth analysis,
do I look like someone who cares what God thinks?
adult content,
It's okay, he just wanted his machete back!
adult language,
Well, that's just what we call pillow talk, baby.
and spoilers.
If he dies, I'll be a murderer.
Join us.
Gotta love these parallel universes.
Hey, welcome back everybody to MOTS-O-Ween 2017. Today we're going to be reviewing and talking about Jason X, which was my pick this year. But before we do that, I'd like to introduce our panel here. I'm here with Richard Perry.
What's up?
Chris Morgan.
Welcome.
Scott Thurlow.
In space.
And I'm your host, Luis Duran. So I guess to kick it off real quick, Scott, do you want to lead us off with intro, buddy, and conclusion?
Yeah, well, I'm going to do my logline first, but I've been waiting to say it all day. X going to give it to you in space, as I just said. So, yeah, it's pretty simple.
I'm actually very disappointed they didn't have that music, that song play at any point during his spree.
It was a missed opportunity, I agree. But, I mean, the plot of this movie is fairly simple. Jason Voorhees gets cryogenically frozen, I guess, in contemporary times, and then awoken 400 years in the future on a space station, a scientific, I guess, outpost or whatever, and of course wakes up and does his Jason thing, murdering the residents of the space station one by one in various gruesome ways. They're trying to fight him off the whole time, and then eventually, at the last minute, they jettison him into space and get rescued by a different ship. And then, of course, I guess a background detail is that original Earth is gone or dead, so living on a new Earth, and his falling star burning body in the atmosphere falls to Earth 2, of course, in their version of Crystal Lake, and the ominous face, his mask, is the last scene of the movie. That's pretty much it, man. Like I said, it's Jason in space, so there's not a lot to it. Score-wise, I'm leaning towards like a 2, maybe. Like, it was very solid. I have to say, this is one of the more entertaining movies of this year, of the season that we picked. So good choice, Louis. I liked it better than some of the other ones we've done so far. So I was entertained throughout, but like, again, I can't give it a 3. Like, I'm never going to give this movie a 3 and about a conclusion, but I'll give it a solid 2 perhaps, and maybe I'll take points because it's just a framework you've seen 1,000 times. Yeah, sure, this franchise invented that framework, and then I believe Louis said precast, like, the pitch of the actual movie was like, yeah, it's Jason in space. That's all you need to know. And that's all it pretty much is. So we'll maybe get into it more with like characters and stuff later on in a bit. But for me, my gut score is a solid 2. What do you guys think?
What are you giving the 0 on, do you think?
Probably mostly body. Like, I think the intro
I have to agree with you with body.
Yeah. I think the intro is pretty solid, and the conclusion was like fine as well. But the body, again, like, I don't want to say it's meandering because it wasn't. But again, like, what did you expect? It's Jason killing a bunch of people on a space station. So like, there's not much to it. And anything that I thought was, I'm going to put a lot of points in the style, I guess, Rich. I think I was pre-discussing. So, but I just think narratively wise, like, it's not much to it. And even the characters are super flat, as I said, which we'll mention soon.
True, we didn't remember anybody's name until the credits rolled.
The fucking movie didn't remember anybody's name. So.
Seriously. Well, there's a bunch of red shirts that pretty much got killed. And I would say, like, if we're going to do introduction, I don't know where the introduction would end, but
when they unfreeze him in the fucking space station.
As soon as they
okay, so the body would be like all those red shirts being murdered.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I was wavering whether, to be honest with you, whether to give it a 2 or a 3. So I'm going to go along with a solid 2 as well.
I have to say they did a decent job of giving the smallest amount, at least like the cursory amount of character development for the red shirts.
Yeah.
Instead of just like parading them into their deaths.
Like the most cursory amount, I would say. I don't know, man.
I'd say, given the volume of the amount of people that they had on there, I'd say they gave him a fair shot.
All right, fine.
And as you're saying, Scott, before too, like it's formulaic. You don't really need to reinvent the wheel to get a good slasher horror movie, especially if it's Jason.
I was actually caught off guard by how quickly they started its killing spree.
Yeah. It was kind of, I'd say, I didn't really time it. I was at first going to keep a death toll, but then it just, after the space station, it got ridiculous.
Kind of matter,
There's no way you can calculate that. But that was something I did not remember after
I was going to bring that up. I was going to bring that up later on as well, but you're right. It's an interesting point. It's like the no Endar Holocaust, no Solaris Holocaust, I guess.
I was waiting.
Or maybe
for
an
one, I was waiting
outright
for one of them like give that that line that they always give after like a city or something gets destroyed. It's like that's like 14,000 people or whatever that live in there.
Yeah.
Well, we know there
all
were
the people on station or whatever. Yeah.
We know there were 60 more Marines or whatever they were.
At the very least.
That's just
well,
the
I'm
Marine
just saying
squad.
we could just say like, okay, we could say that there were at least
Sure.
60 more people died on it. So
I guess, but I don't have much more to say about Intro and Conclusion. Like I said,
I just want to
Those are my
say
thoughts.
that David Cronenberg makes a cameo as Dr. Vimmer,
yes, which was cool.
Yeah.
which is awesome. The way the doctor dies at the beginning, hitting her head getting put into
To the cryogenic stuff, I guess.
the cryogenic stuff, liquid nitrogen,
Whatever.
and getting smashed. And I have to say the hologram thing with the campers where he's like one girl from
That's
one
style
package.
too.
All right, maybe it is, but I'm just saying like highlighted.
That's how I'm counting it.
All right, basically I'm trying to go over the movie where everything positioned is my favorite, and yeah, I'd say the middle is where the slump is,
Yeah.
and the first third and the last third.
The most memorable parts are in the intro and in the conclusion.
Yeah, I know. We're gonna probably get back to some of the stuff in detail, but just to work it out in my head that this is definitely deserving of a very strong 2, though.
I think you easily, without watching this movie, kind of get the idea. I bet just about almost every all these movies kind of have a slump because how
What else
often
is there
can
to
you
do?
like you
Exactly.
keep doing the same thing. You just have to do it different ways. So at least the killing was actually surprising. I mean, we got a few laughs at a lot of things too, and it was
Exactly.
He was very creative in this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm putting the points into style, but taking away from the narrative of the body at least. So
Now, that's really fair.
Yeah, so with that said, I think I'd give it 2
Right.
also. Yeah,
2 as well.
that'd be good for me.
we all pretty much
I feel
agree
comfortable with it too.
Awesome.
Alrighty. So we're on to themes. Chris, did you want to take this one?
Sure.
Is there anything that you can
What
find in
lesson
there?
does this movie teach us?
Have you
Is
seen a
there-
slasher film? Everybody who died, don't do that. That's about as far as I can say about themes.
Good.
Yeah, because I think they said it best. Like, right away we saw the blonde doctor die, and she's kind of I don't know, whatever knit, tank top and
Yeah, but
whatever.
those were the future clothes. All the chicks are
But
wearing
what
them.
I'm saying is, and then you juxtapose it with those the hologram girls, and they're basically wearing the same thing except without the
like
medical stuff.
1980s
Yeah, it's just
funny
like,
camp stuff. Like.
it's like, would you like some alcohol? Would you like to smoke some marijuana? Premarital sex.
Yeah, but see that's good subversion. Like that's a joke upon like the
No.
original themes.
But that's my whole point. Is right then and there they're telling you, any trope you see in these slasher films, don't do it. That's I don't
Again,
really.
though, like she didn't follow. Like the only trope that she had was just like being too close to the body.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it wasn't her fault. So like I was gonna say, of course, do not A, cryogenically freeze Jason Voorhees, and B, wake him up in the future.
No. You can cryogenically freeze him, just don't
So wake him up.
I guess, but even that was like didn't go smoothly. But at least they eventually got him frozen, and then 400 years later, gets unfrozen by unsuspecting future scientist, I guess grad students. I guess we'll say.
Yeah, I'd say the backdrop of this,
But, yeah.
like without really thinking about it, is just science gone mad.
yeah.
Okay,
really
I
just
think
like-
I know what my point was from before. Because Lexa Doy, who plays
Rowan, I think her name
she's
is.
all right. We'll get to her, and the android whose name I can't remember.
KM
something.
KM14. Yeah.
They're basically the ones who are the most stressed through the most of the movie, and all the other women in it were basically, you can see their cleavage and all that stuff.
Sort of.
My whole point is there's like, even in space, it's still exploitative. I mean, you still have this,
It always will be with these
but
kinds of
none
movies.
of these are themes.
That's what I'm saying. There's no message behind this. It's like I said, hey, we've done. Was this really the 10th Jason movie, by the way, Louis?
Yeah.
Okay, that's why
it's
it's
installment. Yeah.
So you've seen 9 movies previously. There's nothing else to be gleaned from this. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like,
If anything, it's definitely making reference and poking fun, unless maybe it just taking itself, doing exactly the same thing and parodying itself
I thought
without
it was
realizing.
somewhat doing that intentionally.
Because the one thing that stuck out with me was the pilot.
Yeah.
When he was just like, he's like, oh, it's a female survivor. Yeah. And then he just does the 1,000-year story. He's like, I'm so lonely.
That was
And then he cuts
awesome.
to the next scene.
That's good
It's
dialogue
just such
there.
a straight throwaway line, but it was so weird seeing like the dichotomy between the premarital sex
Sure.
and the way he's killing. Like they even framed it almost side by side.
We did make a joke. Rich, I believe, came up with the possible theory that people having sex, like,
this is what actually
it's like a
fuels them
spider
up. Yeah.
sense.
Yeah,
It's like because as soon as she gave that like sex ending moan, he just stood straight, like sat straight up. Like,
Yeah.
all right, time to start
It
killing.
was like a dog
Yeah.
whistle to him. So, like, I don't know. Like I said, there's not really a deeper message other than the stuff that's already there, like, in the framework of the whole franchise. And I did feel it was a bit parodying itself, which is, like, I can kind of respect that. It's amusing.
Yeah.
But I don't think there's actual, like, themes contained therein.
So the
Yeah, I don't
only
think there's
serious
substance.
theme that I could possibly take a stab at is greed kills.
Yeah.
But like even that's
Sure.
that doesn't hold enough water.
He's
That's
just like
kind of
he's
offhandedly
the
there.
walking epitome of greed in a sense or something like that. Like the
Yeah.
monster and all that. Like,
But then again, like they didn't take it like usually in those types of situations, that's what gets everybody killed. Like that, him saying keep him alive didn't go past Brodsky walking into the next room.
Yeah, that's
He's just like, there's no way I'm going to keep this guy
He
alive.
immediately,
Right.
overturned that order.
Yeah.
So I don't have much more to say. Like I said, I don't think there's enough there. I don't think anybody can actually claim there's a theme per se that deserves a 1 in Jason X. So
yeah, I like to look pretty
Yeah.
hard for a theme. Just
I was going to
for
give
the
it a
hell of
0. I mean, we've definitely given this more. Yeah.
yeah, like you know what?
Yeah.
Like if I'm gonna channel Jane Manzer, like keeping in mind the genre and nature of this kind of film, there usually isn't one, or like it's just not often the point of these
Nope.
kind of films.
Exactly.
So
Yeah, I'd have to go 0 too.
Yep, 0.
All right.
All right, Rich. You want to take us off with antagonists?
Sure. Jason.
Uber Jason.
Uber Jason.
Jason.
And
Uber Jason.
I mean, he's what you'd expect. He's an unstoppable killing machine. I mean, there's no. I mean, there's not really much you can do
Yeah,
with him.
what do you want out of
Yeah.
Jason?
Yeah.
No,
I mean, as far as being a credible threat to everybody in the film, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
yeah. See, that's funny. Yeah, that's sort of how I was debating it in my mind. Like, he's Jason. He's one of, if not the most iconic, like, slasher villain ever. So he's going to be murdering and menacing everybody the entire film. That's the whole point. So yes, if you're going about effectiveness, of course he's effective. But he's literally just a monster. Like, he's an animal. There's nothing else to him.
and even when he gets to it,
And he gets rebuilt
when it
cybernetically.
gets to a point where like the plot stops him, the plot finds a way to literally bring him back
Yeah.
with a Deus Ex Machina.
Exactly.
Literally.
Which they sort of,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
to be fair, they somewhat set up like, we have
No, it was like the concept was set up.
Yes, true.
Yeah.
But for them, like for the nanites to develop sentience for some reason and start building the ship into
Yeah,
him to bring him
That's
back.
true. It made zero sense at all. But like, again, like, yes, I'm going to have to give him probably, I guess, a default 1 because, like I said, he's so iconic and let's put him in space, like,
Yeah.
like I guess is the premise. And it's still effective. He was still murdering everybody in pretty interesting ways, like ways that at least we were amused by.
He
I
was
thought.
murdering everybody and then setting up kills
Actually,
that didn't have to come directly from his hand,
Yeah.
which is very impressive.
I have to say, out of all the Jason movies, he has the most personality in this movie. Like,
Yeah.
I really got a
Think
sense
so?
of person.
I think,
yeah. Usually he's just kind of like this walking golem who doesn't really do much. I mean, you know.
He had some personality.
But,
Yes,
in,
not
but
much.
in this one, he seemed to have more of a personality. And I mean, I credit that kind of to Kane Hodder because he's really good.
Sure.
I mean, he's played Jason many, many times, but I think it looks like the actor himself was having a good time with this role because Jason really looked like he was involved in the killing as opposed to just being this automaton that kills.
I guess. I'm still giving him a 1, just a solid 1.
Oh, hell yeah.
Because
Yeah.
it's Jason.
Jason,
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like you were saying, Chris, it's just weird. Like, you don't really, the way that Kane was able to carry himself and everything, you can only do so much with your eyes, but like with your gait and everything like that. I mean, and also what they were doing with him, like he was Batman out there,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
strangling people. Like that's
Yep.
not his MO, really. Like
No.
that's far, like unless he doesn't have his machete. And, like if he has a machete, which he did have, I think I'm pretty sure at that time, like he's just gonna chop people up. And then at one point, he has like the new one that he picked up, and then he
Yeah.
sees his old one. He's like very sentimental. Like he has to go.
Sure.
With
That
that
was a
old,
good
like-
touch.
Yeah.
Actually, did he say? I don't remember. I just remember him picking it up. Did he keep that?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he did. He
Yeah,
put it
yeah.
down, and that's when the doctor's like, "It's okay. He just wanted his machete back."
Yeah. So
And then,
like, it's such a weird kind of thing to kind of throw in there for.
Sure.
I mean, it's a humor.
it's an okay
it's
detail.
really humor, but
Yeah. I liked it.
it still gives nuance. I'd say.
Yeah. I'll agree with that.
I don't know about agency. There's not much agency, but it's at least something.
He just does what he's gonna do.
Something, yeah.
Like I said, he's an
This
animal.
agency is what the plot demands.
Yeah.
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 Again, I will address that later, but that's certainly something to be said there.
So I'd say it's a 1 for me. I don't know.
Yep.
We all.
Yeah.
I agree.
I don't see how you cannot give Jason a 1 in almost anything, regardless of whatever else is happening or however badly the script and the film is. He's always going to be effective, I think, and still is in this.
Okay, well, I think on a protagonist, and we were having trouble kind of talking about that before the podcast.
Yeah.
There really isn't you can say Rowan is the protagonist?
She's
the
supposed to be.
Yeah,
or like would be normally.
She's I mean, the story demands one, I would maybe, but not really. It doesn't really kind of.
Everybody else does more for the situation than she does.
Yeah,
it's like her knowledge of Jason goes unheeded throughout the entire movie. And then
she doesn't even act as like
the one time when they ask her for her expertise to help them figure out how to stop him, she can't come up with anything.
Except for the details of like a hollow, or was that the android that came up with the details for the hollow?
Yeah, just kind of was a throwaway line saying like 1980s.
Yeah, it's really funny. They did set her up as like the expert, like here, to kind of walk them through the process, to actually be more of a protagonist. Basically, they're like, oh, the audience knows what's going on. Let's just make her.
I guess
she kind of went into the background for sure.
Yeah, so that's the thing. As you said, precast, we were sort of like tossing up because either normally you would see this movie and it would be her, right? But she really sort of like melted into the background or like enfolded into the group, your survivor group that you see a lot. So I think like how I'm going to cut it up is that they themselves all count. Like she just sort of gets shuffled in there.
Because I think a lot of the stuff that the final girl would normally do was definitely split up between everybody in the cast.
Yes.
Yeah.
Precisely.
Every single person had a moment to shine, including like the ones that would usually cower in the corner. They were responsible for trying to get the shuttle off the ground.
Yeah. So like I view it that way. So they were collectively effective enough, and because I think you mentioned earlier as well, Louis, that they had to like sort of at least give you some characterization for some of these characters. So that was fine. So it's weird because if I'm going to give a 1 here, then I'm probably going to give 0 to supporting, because ostensibly all the supporting characters were the collective protagonist. It's almost like a weird ensemble piece. But I think I do agree also, Rich, that the final girl duties, I suppose I'll call them, were cut up, like divvied out to other characters.
Yeah.
To face the situation and at least, cause roadblocks and distract Jason and then get this, whatever they need to do, like get the X engaged and refuel the Y or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, and while, again, they didn't have a lot of characterization to them, they were certainly at least a bit more than just one-dimensional. But because they had to cover, like, let's say 6-7 characters or so, like in the little grad school group, plus Rowan, I suppose. Mm. So, like, altogether, I think they had enough. There was enough there for me, at least, to give them collectively, as protagonists, a 1. Although there's no single one that deserves it to be placed above the others.
No,
yeah, I totally agree. On this, though, for me, I would have to give protagonist 0, but just because of what you said earlier, because I think all of it just falls on the supporting cast.
Fair enough.
Because I don't think they wrote anybody good enough to be as much as a force Jason was, there wasn't anybody equally comparable.
I think they had the idea that they were going to make Rowan the protagonist and then realized, oh wait, no.
Yeah, it's weird because, I mean, I could see myself making that exact argument that you made and then doing the same, like giving the same score for the same reason. So I guess I'm just viewing it the opposite end of the coin, but like we're still sort of agreeing upon how to view it. But I'm still going to end up with a 1. But like I said, that means almost automatically the next question is going to be a 0 for me.
Yeah,
I'm going to have to do the same as Scott. Like I see them as a collective more as a protagonist group, not a supporting group.
So we're counting them collectively as a protagonist then? Mm-hmm. That's the consensus?
You don't have to. I mean,
I don't. Yeah, not for me. Not for me particularly.
Yeah, I am, but you don't have to.
I think the supporting cast outshines whatever protagonist they were trying to. Or maybe they weren't even trying to think of her.
I mean, like if we're to count, like say Rowan. All right, if we were to count like 4 people as the protagonist, it'd be like Rowan. It would be Brodsky, and the guy and
computer geek.
The computer geek and his robot, which, funny enough, like in any other movie, he would have died and the android would have lived. I mean, because even if we have those, let's put it this way: if we counted those 4, if we counted 5 people as the protagonist, there's still enough people on the outside that I'd give that a 1 too. I mean, Christ, okay, supporting character. If we gave protagonist a 1 here. David Cronenberg, supporting character, fucking supporting character, automatically
man.
gets a 1.
He was on screen for like 2 fucking
He's
minutes.
a supporting character, dude.
He's more of a cameo than supporting character, I would say.
He's David Cronenberg, man. It's
I guess, but I don't know.
I'd say for me personally, it'd be a 0, just because I don't really see protagonists.
Where you coming down, Chris?
I'm kind of coming down on Louis' point because I don't really see one.
That's fair.
But I may subject to change. I'm gonna see what we go with supporting characters.
All right. Well, speaking of those, is it to me? Who's speaking of it?
Actually, it's got to go to you for
right.
secondary supporting.
Well, then, like I said, it almost like going to be a 0 because all the points and credit I would have given to secondary supporting is going to protagonists because they collectively were, at least to me. So that means, like, yes, the Cronenberg thing was awesome, Chris, but it doesn't make him a fucking supporting character. Like, he showed up in the beginning for 2 minutes and gets murdered by Jason. Yes, that's cool. Don't get me wrong. But he had no characterization other than that, essentially.
Dude, in Texas Chainsaw Massacre, we gave a supporting character nod to the guy at the window at the...
Yes, but there were others as well. And it was a different... Like, there was a clear protagonist, at least, in Texas Chainsaw. So check that episode out. But I think here, I'm trying to think of, like, other characters that were, like, on the fringe that maybe I could say...
The pilot?
Oh,
Pilot? Yeah.
Yeah, like
Lou.
or maybe, like, the professor guy. Like, I don't count him as the protagonist crew, if you will, but...
No, not really.
He was amusing, but not great. And like you said, I think Rich said that he's, like, affably evil, sort of.
Well,
Yeah.
you know what? I liked his grad student that was there, that went over there, and he was... For the S&M
nipple
thing
clamp?
with the nipple clamp,
Yeah.
that was pretty
Well,
funny.
didn't she survive for a while?
Yeah, she's the one that gets sucked through the...
Yeah, she's the one who
yeah.
gets sucked through the air vent. The doctor who gets her head bashed in, you know.
But she was, again, like, on screen for, like, 10 minutes before that happens. So she was barely a character. Everyone who gets murdered was barely a character. And, like, ostensibly, like I said, because of the way...
How about that one guy who did a Lawrence Fishburne and blew himself up?
He was the protagonist.
Are you counting him as a protagonist?
Yes, because he was part of their crew for the whole time. Yes, that was his heroic sacrifice, for sure, but he was helping them the whole time. He was part of the core, again, like, squad that was surviving Jason. So, like I said, like, maybe you guys are going to give a 1 here because of him, and I'm doing the opposite. So that's probably why my 0 is going to be for supporting here.
For me, it definitely gonna be 1 just for Brodziak. Just because
me too.
the arc that he had.
All right.
I mean,
Like, all the-
are we
fair.
counting him as part of the protagonist? Just
Not me personally, because he gets in like halfway, almost not halfway, but like fairly deep into the
He
movie.
shows up right around the same time as when they bring her to the ship.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know. I think I'm gonna probably give it 1 to supporting, and I am once again I am like Scott, going to channel Jonathan E. Manzer. If there's not a clear cut protagonist, then I think personally, for me, I have to give it a default 0. Even though I wanted to give it a 1.
That's fair, man.
No, I'm just saying that I was still on the fence because I'm like, I really want to give them both a 1, but
I could have gone, like I said, I could have been convinced either way.
I was never going to give both a 1.
Yes.
Yeah,
exactly.
I think that's
It just
the movie
depends-
just demands it.
Yeah.
Exactly. I agree with that. It depends
Okay.
where you lump one or the other, and then whatever one you do give credit to, the other one doesn't get credit.
so Scott 0, me 1, Rich 0, Louis 1.
Yeah.
All right, good.
Yeah.
Yep.
Maybe flip that on
That's
that.
how it
Yeah, it
shakes
looks like
down.
a little tic
Unless we
tac
count the
toe.
machete as a secondary character.
No, I mean, I would love to do that. But
Hey, listen, I've counted inanimate objects as characters before, but
I don't know, man.
check out our Star Trek
Ooh, the
Beyond.
nanites.
Oh, the nanites.
Ooh. That's a good.
Very
That's an interesting
yeah,
point.
That is.
Oh.
But are they a character, or are they just a random
Hey,
plot
hey,
device?
They're a plot device for sure, but everything pretty much is. At
Yeah,
this
I
point.
mean, I get that. That's true.
That
But
really
you could,
is.
you could argue, like
That is
Scott
true.
said, that they had gained some sentience towards the end. Like they realized they had like 15 minutes left.
But like
in the movie.
out of nowhere, never addressed before or afterwards. I mean, that's funny. Like I said, true.
And it's funny because like the other, I mean, granted they weren't hurt as badly, but the nanites actually integrate with
Yeah,
Jason.
that's
Like,
true.
they actually merge with
They're
him.
like part of him as well.
Yeah, he becomes Uber Jason
Yeah.
somehow. Where all the other characters that were part of that had the same treatment didn't have anything.
Yeah, so they established that, like, I guess reanimation technology via nanites exists in this world, in this setting.
And apparently not a single one of them had ever tried to make a super soldier.
Exactly. That's what I'm trying to get at, Rich. Like, this is the first time this has ever happened, even though this technology has existed for like 200 years or whatever they said. Like a while.
5. Oh yeah.
They mentioned it was a while, but I don't know,
100
man.
years.
Sure.
100 years, yeah.
But either way, like, that's an interesting sort of tangential thing, but I don't, it's not enough for me to count the fucking nanites as a secondary character and give it a 1.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I don't. Nah, I can stick with Proziak.
Yeah, I think we said, like, this movie, yes, is built on plot devices. That's just one of many as well. And a more interesting one, sure, but at the end of the day, that's how I'm coming down on it.
Okay. Well, so that would bring us over to dialogue. That'd be Chris. What do you think?
I thought it was great. I thought it was really great. I mean, it was just your typical tongue-in-cheek, type lines. I thought, he's screwed. Like when
Yes,
the one
got
guy.
Oh yeah.
That's the one I was waiting for.
Son of a bitch! I'm sorry. I thought
cool.
I thought you were gonna.
But that's a good one. That's, yeah.
You know what though? Scott said it before they did. So like me and Lou were just laughing through them actually making the reveal in the movie.
Yep.
And I swear to God that was you coming up with it right then and there.
I thought it was too, because for you who haven't seen the film, one of the soldiers falls on a giant screw and he screws down the
He slowly gets wound down
he
it.
get wound down it, and how is so and so?
They find him later, and like, you're screwed. Like, but the thing is, like I said, you have to have that character say. There's nothing else for them to say. Like, it literally writes itself. There is no way they can say anything else. So, and I enjoyed some other stuff too. There's a couple other ones where Brodsky gets stabbed once through, like, from behind a wall, and he's like, I'll stick through the ribs. Is it gonna kill this old dog? And then another one stabs. He's like, that might do it. Like, that was amusing. So, like, yes, it's cheesy, but like, in a sort of like, again, like, the film itself is kind of in on the joke. Like,
I have to also give credit to Janessa.
I think it was Janessa.
Well,
doesn't matter.
Her actress, like pretty much a majority of her lines were like stock, late '90s slasher film dialogue.
Yeah.
Just like throwing oh my God, just like throwing terrible jokes out there that she just sincerely sold, and I bought them.
Yeah, there wasn't any lines in here that really made me roll my eyes or were really cringeworthy. I mean, some of them were border
on purpose, though.
Yeah,
I mean,
like, everything was purposely set up.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you knew exactly where they were going. We were calling out a couple of them.
Yeah,
but they were funny, and the movie's quotable.
The movie's very
stand
quotable.
out. Like, he just wanted his machete. Like,
it's so over the top that it becomes like,
I'm so
amusing.
lonely.
I'm so lonely.
Yes, little touches like that. So yeah, like, yes, like I said, but keeping in mind the nature of what this kind of film is, and I think again, it was written and the script called for it to be sort of like a wink and a nod, like knowingly sort of joking with itself.
Yeah, I mean, the
give it a lot
movie
of
knows what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I have to respect that. They weren't trying to be anything else. And I think, like I said, they dropped in some pretty amusing stuff. And it was funny. So
it's like Texas Chainsaw. The dialogue there was because the movie knew what it was, even though it was an absurdist. Even for that, this is an absurdist.
To an extent.
Jason movie,
I see what you mean, yeah. But yeah, so I'm thinking of a pretty solid one. It was entertaining.
Yeah, me too.
It was well done. It did walk a fine line, but I think I enjoyed it for that.
Yeah.
I can give it a 1.
Yeah, give it a 1.
Awesome.
It was looking pretty good.
Alrighty.
All right, with dialogue down, move on to style. What do you think, Rich?
Solid 1.
Solid 1.
Solid 1. Like I said, Jason never did the same kill twice.
Nope.
Yeah.
Which was impressive for such a large cast.
Cast.
A large cache of bodies, that is.
Large cache of bodies, especially the ones that he stocked up on Solaris.
Yeah. So, like, I agree. I think, like I said, keeping in mind the framework of this kind of film, and specifically Jason X, because of that, they were entertaining and they were versatile. They switched it up here and there. So, like, even though some of the stuff, like, for example, the fake monsters, like when the two guys were in VR, like the little fake alien, didn't look great. It was like, early 2000 effects or whatever. But just the fact that they kept all the kills fresh and were entertaining as well. Like the nanite thing was fine as well. Jason's design, Jason's design was pretty good.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah. So all that, and like, because of having the prop or like him picking up the medical bone saw, I guess, and then leaving it for his own
the medical machete.
And then when he finds his own his old school machete, his original one, leaving it for that, all that kind of stuff. And yeah, like I guess I think I made the joke that perhaps if Jason wanted to maximize his kill count, no better place to do it than in the future when you kill the pilot of a ship that crashes into like an installation and murdering untold number of
and
people.
he was slaughtered too. That was what was awesome about it. I mean, he looked like he was right out of Hellraiser. It was like,
yeah, kind of, yeah.
He was taken apart.
So like it was all fine, and it's again other than that, like. Was there amazing cinematography? No, not really, but it was perfectly competent.
But actually, it's really funny because as I was watching the film, there were a couple shots that were really good. Like, I mean, considering like the level of effects, the level of sets was a little inconsistent. Some of them looked better than others. But by the same token, like there was a lot of stock shots. There were a couple scenes where the way the camera moved, I took notice and like, wow, that's a really good shot. I really like the way they did that. So like, it wasn't consistent, but what it did well. And I'm going to say this for Steve-O and I, the music wasn't all that memorable.
I was waiting for you to bring that up.
Yeah. Well, Steve or I has to bring that up.
Well, I was going to say this. You're right. It wasn't memorable. However, during the credits, we realized we were watching the songs or the music, and one of them was called Jason's Jam or something like that. I kind of want to check it out now. Since it's called that.
Well, it was one of like 2 songs.
Sure, yeah. But like, I mean, I agree with that, of course, largely to an extent. And I also, one of you referenced it earlier, that in style, I want to put the holographic projection that they trap it, that I guess they sort of buy time with against Jason, where it's a recreation of the original 1980s style. And like the 2 camper chicks are like, let's drink booze, let's smoke marijuana, let's have premarital sex.
We love premarital sex.
It's like a joke unto itself. And the way he kills those, like, I don't ruin like that kill, but trust me, check out that scene. It's pretty amazing. So I think all that speaks to a pretty solid style, pretty entertaining and well done overall. Like I said,
I feel like they could have stretched that scene out more.
Yeah, they
absolutely randomly spawning campers to kill.
Yeah, they probably could have. Like the thing is, would that joke have gotten old, Rich? It might have. Like they might.
No. I think they could have. I think they could have gotten more.
A couple more.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You know what? I wouldn't have minded that. But
I mean, it wouldn't have went on for more than like 2 minutes, maybe.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the thing is, I thought it was great to cut back and he's beating one girl in the sleeping bag.
Yeah, I was trying to.
Sorry.
The way he kills the 2 projections of the campers, though, is very amusing.
Yeah, they're just having fun at that point.
Yeah.
It just really.
They could have expanded on that. I agree with Rich. They could have added another kill or 2. Just
sure, and that would have been
using
fine,
what they have as instead of a machete, using what he has as the murder.
I mean, if they had a perfect 1980 replica going, they might as well have just brought back his mother.
That would have been
free
amazing.
therapy session.
That's pretty good too. But yeah, like I said, it is all just entertaining and well done enough that I'm giving a solid 1 on style for all those fronts.
I agree.
1.
Yeah, for me, there wasn't anything really to write home about, but then I started thinking, now that you guys were mentioning it, like the music was, like you said, not memorable.
It was there.
But like, it did kind of the jump scares, so to speak, successfully. Like I'd say, when Jason goes through the window and to go right behind them when they're all looking at the door. Also, when he grabs somebody through a wall, and it does exactly what it's supposed to do, what a slasher figure is supposed to do, and it kept it fresh. So I'd say for me, it's a 1.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree.
So I guess that will lead the last thing for recommendation of me. This is a tough one.
Technically, you already did recommend it. But...
I did. Yeah. It's funny how it kind of worked around that way. This is going to be really hard because if you're into horror movies and you just want like a funny popcorn slasher flick, I'd say definitely give this a watch. There's nothing really. They're not, I said before, reinventing the wheel. It's just really kind of having fun, and I honestly think it was really parodying, poking fun of itself, making either known references or unbeknownst to themselves of the creators or whatever.
Yeah.
Just randomly things that we were catching, like it's a very Event Horizon near the end.
Yep.
Yeah. I forgot what other movies we were talking about.
Aliens.
Little Alien. Yeah, Rowan.
Aliens, Hellraiser.
Yep.
Because they even had the chains in there.
So this was kind of, not necessarily riding the coattails of those horror movies, maybe paying homage in their own way.
Perhaps homage, maybe.
Yeah, perhaps.
gonna
Or
say
Resident Evil. Resident Evil also was another one
right.
too. we were talking
Resident
about.
Evil, you know, it's like I think it was
Tomb
more of
Raider
a
also.
what the fuck, why not? More of a actually this predated Resident Evil. Resident Evil I don't think was released until 2002.
It was close. Maybe
Wow.
you're right. Either way, though, maybe
And this
Resident Evil
film-
ripped this off then.
I mean,
Yeah.
this or 2003, whatever. This one was made in 2000, but I think it wasn't released till 2001 or 2002.
It's 2001.
Maybe it was pioneering a lot of the.
Oh yeah, it's a front runner.
Maybe
sure.
just for Resident Evil, but probably not.
Well, I guess that the thing that made me think of it specifically was when the guy like redesigns his replicant K, she's wearing like sort of like black like a badass like dress with like badass boots and like a bent like fucking bullets and shit like wrapped around her. Like it just reminded me of how Mila looks in Resident Evil sometimes. But anyway, it's a tough one for me too though for this question because it's one of the better ones that I've seen this season that pick. So pretty solid pick, Louis. Here's the thing. I would say, yeah, it's definitely a good popcorn movie. Definitely a good movie, horror movie to sit back and like enjoy a couple drinks and basically Mystery Science Theater it throughout. But it's not like terrible at all. It's not
I don't even
poorly
think
done.
I don't even think you need a Mystery Science Theater this thing
Yeah,
because it was always like one step ahead. The thing you beat the screw thing is what you beat on. Everything else they kind of like were like, all right, we're gonna beat the audience to the punch on that.
Sure. So like, you know what? I've been trying to sort of like do a new, come up with a new measuring stick. Would I see this movie again in future Halloweens? Yeah, I probably would be like, hey, next year or maybe the year after that, want to watch Jason X again? You know what? Sure. No, I would. And I wouldn't say that about some other movies that we've seen this year and just other horror movies in general. So I think I'll give it like a soft-ish one recommendation. It's not bad. And in fact, at parts, it's pretty damn good. And because of sort of like the possible subversion parodies that it does on itself and on the genre, I'll give it also a bit of credit on that front and say like, yeah, check out Jason X. It's a pretty solid horror movie.
Yeah, thinking about
Pretty solid entry.
I think this is the 10th one.
Yeah.
It had probably break the top like 4, like all the ones you want to watch. Obviously, you don't need to watch the first 9 to get the general idea.
Yeah.
I think it's like my favorite out of all of them.
Yeah, you think so?
Yeah. I mean, all right, let's put it this way. If you like take the first one or two, let's say, and they're actually supposed to be serious. Let's say that, okay, these first two are serious in the grand scheme of things. Then they became more absurd and Jason 5 was just horrible. But 6 was entertaining. But this is the one that I remember the most after like the first two. When I was growing up and we had cable, 3 was on all the time. And I got to, the one that they shot in 3D when it was in the theater. But as far as like quality goes, this is probably the one I'd go back to the most. I mean, fuck yeah, I'd fucking recommend this movie. I love this movie. I'd see it again, man. It is like, call it a guilty pleasure. Call it like, like a Hellraiser 4, because I did like that. I wasn't on that podcast, but I do like that. It's a bad movie, but I like it. And this is actually a better movie than that movie is.
Oh, yeah.
It is, and I recommended Texas Chainsaw Massacre, The Next Generation, our first one for the MOTS-O-Ween. And this is a better movie than that. So I can't not recommend this movie based upon
on that scale.
Yeah.
Sure.
And I fucking love this movie. I think it's such an enjoyable, entertaining movie.
I think
And the pace, it's really well paced too. I was never,
I'll agree with that. Yeah.
The middle might have been a little tedious, let's say, because they had to like kill off like 20 characters before we could get down to the core 5 or 6 or 7. But I mean, that was it. Even they didn't even draw it out. It's kind of like, okay, here's all these red shirts in a dark area, in a storage unit. It's just like, we're just going to kill them all, and we're not even going to pretend like any one of these people is going to survive.
And like I said, at least the kills, when they were doing that, the kills were interesting and amusing to watch.
And they're
It was
Batman.
weird that they kept from showing the blonde girl from dying. Or the blonde soldier. That she just swung in on the hook.
Yeah, that's true.
That she's the only one that never got
An actual kill, shot, I guess you'll say. Yeah, I mean, that is a little strange that you mentioned it, but like I said, overall,
It's a random thought.
I hear you. But I think, given everything we said, it was pretty fucking solid. So
Yeah.
I would recommend it.
Yeah, I think for me, I guess it would have to lie on the rewatchability, like you said.
Yeah.
And honestly, I wouldn't mind a couple years down the road or whenever, even if it's on, I just randomly see it on TV, just like,
Exactly.
yeah, leave it on.
I have done that.
You know what? I think what'll get me to give it this one, every time I see this, ever since I first watched this movie, every time I see that it's on or somebody mentions it, a smile Just creeps onto my face.
Yeah, this to me
There
is
you
one
go.
of those movies that like if I see it's on, I'll sit there and watch it because it is entertaining.
I don't think I'll put my full attention to it, but it'll be on.
No, but that's
And
the whole thing. And when I mean I love it, I don't like love it like it's like The Godfather or anything. It's
Sure.
you know, it's just like for what it is, it's a really enjoyable time. You know, so maybe
although
love
if
was
if I had to choose, Jason Goes to Hell would still be my favorite.
Fair enough. We might have to,
Yeah, we might have to do that one.
we might have to
All
do
right,
it,
well,
yeah.
we'll have to
I was
do
saying,
that,
We might have
yeah.
to do a separate like study of the just franchises in general. But at least in the Friday the 13th franchise, I think Jason X is a pretty damn good entry.
Fucking great. I like it.
Yeah, I think it was solid. For me, definitely one.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll go to one.
Rich?
Yeah.
Yeah, one.
All right. Well,
I think
you want me
that's
to
pretty good,
tally it up?
Yeah, I think it's looking.
All right,
the
it's going to
numbers
take
here,
me
buddy.
15 minutes on the calculator, and we all gave it a 7. We were split on protagonist and
Well, we flip-flopped,
supporting.
right?
Right.
Yeah.
It looks like a little tic-tac-toe board here.
Pretty much like supporting a protagonist, we're getting a 1.
Yeah, we all
Yeah.
gave the intro body conclusion. We all agreed that the middle was the weakest point, and I don't think in good conscience any of us could have actually given this movie a 3.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Yeah. So there were no themes to it aside from "Don't be a stupid idiot," and So yeah,
Don't fuck with Jason Voorhees.
without question, Jason 10 gets a 7.
All right, not bad. Pretty fucking solid score, man.
So far, it's the highest rated one we've had so
Yeah,
far.
yeah.
And this is the penultimate, episode before the.
And speaking of that, that's true. Quick promo, I guess, plug. Speaking of franchises, the final episode this season will, of course, be Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, which will be airing, I guess, the day after this episode airs.
It'll be airing tomorrow, 11:30 tomorrow.
Sure.
So, a.m.
So we'll tell you about the
Eastern Standard Time.
We are, in fact, measuring the one Halloween franchise, the Halloween franchise itself, that is. So, yeah. But within the Friday the 13th one, like I just said, like we all just said, Jason X, pretty damn good.
Yeah. And MOTS-O-Ween 2017, I did the first one, and I'm going to do the finale because I've been waiting 3 years to do that movie. So
All right.
Nice.
Very nice.
just plugging the Halloween show. So
Indeed.
Okay, so I guess that kind of wraps it up. That's Jason X gets a 7. You heard it here first.
Yep.
So I guess on that note, say goodnight to everybody. I'm here with Rich Perry,
Rest in peace, Solaris.
Chris Morgan,
happy Halloween.
Scott Tolo,
It's okay. I just wanted my machete back.
and I'm Louis Saran. Leave this one for Braziak. One for Braziak.
See you next time.
Have a good night.
Bye-bye.
Editing and engineering by Christopher Morgan. Music by Christopher Morgan. Check us out on YouTube and iTunes for the shows, and on Facebook and Twitter for updates.